Samuela had decided to show his father how to run the maize business. He said to himself, "Let me get some money from my father's strongbox. I will be back tonight with the profits and will pay him back." So he called on his friends to help him. Together, they flagged down a lorry and loaded it with fresh maize. Samuela climbed in the lorry and headed to the city. By the time the family left church that day, Samuela was already far from the village, making friends with the lorry driver. As they drove down the road, Samuela thought to himself, "I wonder how I can find a buyer for the fresh maize." He was not sure how he would do it, but he knew he could do it better on his own. The lorry driver asked where Samuela planned to sell his produce. Samuela confessed that he did not know. The lorry driver said, "No problems, little brother. I have a friend who will help us out. He is a buyer who will give us the best deal." After that, Samuela knew he could relax. He was in business now. In the city, the driver drove straight to the market. They parked the vehicle and stepped into a bar to relax with a cold drink. Samuela said, "My father always said, business before pleasure. But I like to cool off before I try to outsmart a buyer. Let's have a beer." After one beer, the driver ordered a second for Samuela and said, "Excuse me, I will find the buyer and bring him to you." "Not so fast. How do I know you won't drive off with my maize?" "Don't worry, little brother. You hold the keys for me." Saying that, he handed Samuela some keys and took off. The driver returned with a buyer before Samuela was ready for another beer. "This is my friend Sammy who needs a good buyer for his maize." After they sat down, the driver said, "I assured Sammy that you give the best and highest prices in town." "Why-oh, why-oh, why do you always spoil my business? From now on, let me tell them about my own prices." "Ah, well, Sammy, what price are you expecting?" After what he thought was skillful bargaining, Samuela and the buyer agreed on a price. "I'm paying you more than I pay my regular customers, Samuela." "Don't tell anyone what I paid you." The buyer gave Samuela a small deposit and promised to pay the rest at his office later. The buyer ordered another round of beer. "Bring two for my clever friend. Let's salute Samuela, who talked me into paying the highest price I have ever paid." Samuela was satisfied that he would be able to show his father the value of smart business deals. After several more rounds of beers, Samuela was so drunk he passed out. The driver and the buyer left the bar quietly. When Samuela awoke the next morning, his head ached. He looked around for his friend the driver and saw that he was gone. He rushed to find the lorry, and it was gone. The buyer was gone. Samuela rushed back into the bar. The bartender had never seen either of them before. No one could help him. Samuela did not know the number of the lorry or even the name of the driver. He thought, well, at least they left me the deposit. I can use that to start over and earn the money to pay back my father. Samuela spent the next several days looking for a decent job, one appropriate for a smart young man such as himself. He wandered all through the city. Nowhere he looked could he find a job. He looked and looked without success. When he was almost out of money, he heard a man shouting, "Double your money! Double your money! In a short time, double your money! Give 10 and take 50. This is your day to be rich." If I can double this deposit once, twice, 3 times, maybe 4 times, I can go to my father with my head held high. We would never have to grow maize again. This is fantastic. He handed the man a little of his money and won the first time. He had doubled his wager. He was excited now. Then he bet another small sum and he won again. Then he bet everything and the money disappeared. In his anger, Samuela began to yell for the police. He had been swindled. He would not permit anyone to take him for a fool. The man next to him said, "I won't call you a fool, but everyone except country boys knows about the money doublers. Don't waste your time going to the police. You agreed to the gamble. You got what you deserved." Samuela fell to the ground. His ways had come to nothing. He was penniless and ashamed, jobless and alone, frightened and hungry. That night he slept outside, his belly empty and his mind agitated by his failures.